Hello everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm here today to bring you our last creator chat for the year. I know what you're thinking, Christmas is less than a week away, the kids are out of school, the shops are packed and we are all tired. But think of this as a little gift from Alia Graphic to you. I am joined today by Holly Jayne, a creator who released her debut comic in September titled Bunnygirl, The First Adventure. Holly has been waiting a long time to chat with us, so let's get right into us. Holly, thank you for joining us today. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, hello, nice to join you. Yeah, I've been drawing Bunnygirl for a little while now. Love creating short comics about her and stories, also other characters, like thinking them up and creating little stories for them. Drawing wasn't my first love. I've always loved sculpting with polymer clay, creating little characters and also posable fairy dolls. So drawing is slightly newer to me, but loving it. I also enjoy collecting toys from the 80s and vinyl toys, as you can see behind me. And I live on the Gold Coast with my son Cameron.
So as a child, did you read comics at all?
Not really, no. I kind of fell into comics more so recently. I think just through social media and other artists I follow, and that just love the medium of that and storytelling with panels and things. Love it.
You mentioned your son. What about him? Is he a comic reader at all?
Not really, no. He's not a big reader yet, but I'm hoping that'll come. He has enjoyed Bunnygirl. I don't know if it's just because it's mummy's book or or whatever it may be, but yeah, he'll get there slowly, hopefully.
And so when I was researching into you, I did come across your Etsy store, which is adorable. And I can see your cute little figures and the little paper crafts you do. So where did your love of crafting and art come from?
I think it's just always been there for as long as I can remember, especially like sort of primary school age. I remember my art teacher sort of introduced me to polymer clay, and I didn't really stop, just always making something with it. Mum was quite good at sewing and making small like teddy bears and things out of felt. So we were always making something. And when I kind of learned how to do it myself, then I was always making something. And yeah, just always enjoyed it.
And so that is not obviously your full-time job. So you do this part-time outside of work hours?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I work full-time in a day job. So yeah, fitting it all in is sometimes a bit hard, also with a child. But yeah, if I'm not creating or not drawing or not making something, it does feel a little bit off to me, like something's missing. So yeah, it's never too far away.
And do you find that it's changed for you this year? Do you draw more or do you create and craft more?
I think it did change this year, especially when we went into lockdown. I found I had a bit more time, which was really nice. And for the first time, in years actually, created a fairy doll out of polymer clay, which was just bliss, if I'm honest. I just love, sort of getting in the zone, and I find it really relaxing working with clay. So yeah, there was a bit more time to do things, and also, it was obviously very different for everyone, but I enjoyed that side of it.
Yes, I love what you've done. My little girl, who's 5, would just be an absolute heaven knowing that someone exists in the world that makes these things.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about Bunnygirl. What sparked the idea for that?
So I first created Bunnygirl just playing with clay one day. Sometimes I go in, like I used to have a room where I did it, but I don't anymore. Go in there with no ideas and just sort of potter about, and yeah, started making a little girl. I thought, oh, what if she was wearing some sort of suit and that? So yeah, I've always loved bunnies and cute things. So that sort of comes naturally to put her in a bunny suit. And when I finished her, I was like, oh, I really like that. You know, she kind of looks like a vinyl toy, you know, which I love collecting, and sort of put her to the side. And then probably about a year later, I started designing enamel pins and things like that. And I designed a cereal box pin. So it's the Cereal Love Club pin. And that, you know, cereal boxes always have a character on them. And I thought, I'll just put Bunnygirl on it. And then when I looked at the finished design, I'm like, a girl in a bunny suit on a cereal box, like, there's got to be a story there. And decided to write a short zine or comic zine about her and why is she on this cereal box, basically. And that was going to be something I could take to markets or something like that, you know, to sort of explain the pin as to why this girl in a bunny suit was on a pin. But I've yet to go to a market with that. But yeah, and I just put the zine on my Etsy shop and to see how it go, and people really liked it. Yeah.
And how did you get it from a zine to a actual little hard book?
So the zine wasn't, it took me about a year to actually finish that zine. And then it was in the Etsy shop not very long, and my publisher actually found me through Instagram, and she purchased the Cereal Love Club pen and the zine, and then direct messaged me and asked me if I would like to create a story, a picture book of Bunnygirl. So yeah, ecstatic, just the best message ever. I've always had an interest in children's books, and I never thought I would be drawing one. I don't know. I often toyed with the idea of maybe making characters in clay for a book. So just over the moon. And yeah, we've been creating ever since with Bunnygirl.
Was that a big learning curve for you to go from working with a publisher and making it become a reality?
Yeah, it was a whole new world, and not being overly confident, I think, sometimes with all of that, and learning, how am I going to do this? And the big learning thing for me was, because it was a comic book, it wasn't just like a picture book maybe has one picture to maybe a 2-page spread of text. This was lots and lots of panels and lots of little pictures and 32 pages of it. So it's huge, actually, to, with the first book, to finish that. It was just a mammoth task. So I learnt a lot, and yeah, so that'll stick with me.
So you were working full time. So how long did it take you to do that, like to complete it?
It was probably a good 6 to 8 months, I think. Yeah. So, and obviously there's a lot of back and forth and editing and changing things around in the story. So yeah, a long time.
You work like digitally, like is it all on screen? And so that, so you just have to email back and forth everything?
Yeah, we email back and forth, and I draw with the iPad Pro and Apple Pencil. Mm-hmm. And just, a lot of back and forth and a lot of editing. So, so this, I was saying this Christmas holidays, I'll probably be doing the same again as last year. Yeah.
Are you going to be doing a sequel or the next in a series?
Yes, yes, I'm currently working on book 2. So, yeah, there's a lot of sketching to be done, and the story's mostly done. So, yeah, it's an exciting point. I like to get to the drawing. So, I'm ready to go.
So is that how you work? You write the story first and
Yeah.
then do the panels with it?
Yeah, with the first one, I was a bit more visual, I think, and sort of did the storyboard first and kind of added in text at the same time. But this time around, I've just gone with the story first. So, yeah, and then just kind of put notes. If I think of something or a visual I want for text, just kind of put notes by it so I remember for later. When I'm doing the storyboard and that. So, yeah, so I'm still learning a lot, obviously, but yeah, that's worked quite well this time.
And have you been pleased with how Bunnygirl has been received?
Yeah, I think so. I've received positive feedback. So, I mean, I can't ask for more than that. I just hope they like her as much as I enjoy, you know, writing for her and drawing her.
Can I ask you, is there a lot of you in Bunnygirl?
I think so. Yeah, to some degree, yes, definitely. Yeah, I found that I'm sort of inspired by, you know, cartoons of the 80s and toys of the 80s as well. When I think about how you know, how I'm forming her personality and things like Strawberry Shortcake and Charmkins, and I liked that sort of innocence of, you know, those girly kind of stories and that from when I was younger. So I'm hoping that comes across.
It does. I mean, I enjoyed reading it. I purchased it in like preparation for speaking to you when Yogi told us about it, and I just was like, I would have loved this as a kid. Where was this when I was growing up?
Yeah.
Because it's so, I love how everything's drawn. It does remind me a lot. I was an 80s kid, so it feels familiar to me. But I
Yeah.
love all the pastel colors.
Yeah.
I love the really subtle little humor. And actually, my daughter and I fight over this. She keeps taking it back into her room because it's her book. And I was just like, but I need it. I need to do something with it. Yeah. So it's funny because, yeah, it just keeps moving between the two rooms. But
Yeah.
she loved it. And I have to tell you that the panel she just loved the most, and she loses it laughing at it, is the costume changes.
Oh, yeah. That's one of my favorites too.
Well, that comes across because the banana scene, she just laughs and laughs her little head off and thinks it's so funny that she dressed as a banana.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so she loved it. And I think for me as a parent of a little girl, it was good to see something that, you know, she's a superhero, but it's a girl and, you know, her superpower is being kind.
Yeah.
And was that important to you when you came up with this story?
Yeah, it was. I just wanted something that, you know, that kids could identify with in their friendships and stuff. My son is on the autism spectrum and struggles socially and that. So, and he's got a lovely group of friends and they're quite protective of him. So, and all I've ever seen from them is kindness towards him and, you know, understanding and that. So, yeah, that was important to me.
And just a bit of a question. Do you classify Bunnygirl as a picture book or as a comic? Is that distinction important to you, or?
I feel like it's kind of in between. It's definitely, you know, obviously lots and lots of pictures and not a lot of text sometimes. So it kind of fills in that, you know, for the younger reader or just starting to read, and hopefully some of the humour and that reaches maybe an older reader. So yeah, I don't think it's sort of in the middle. I like to think.
I mean, yeah, because we had this discussion with the group because I think like it's in a picture book format. I suppose that's what makes it straddle the line. You know, it's got a hardcover, and I would have found that probably in my local library in the picture book section. But sometimes I think that with younger readers especially, letting them know that there's a graphic novel section in a library, a junior graphic novel section, something like this I think would be so popular, because you're right, there's enough there for a younger child to look at and to learn to follow the story. And as a parent, you're not too bored by it. You know, it's engaging on both levels.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, I mean, when the publisher approached you, was it coming from an angle of this is a picture book, or were they happy to kind of stay to your ties of it being a zine or a comic?
They were very keen for it to be a comic book in the beginning. We did refer to it a lot as a picture book, but and I think when we were doing the cover, we were leaning towards maybe something a little less comic book feel, but and then came back to no, it should look like a comic book. Yeah, so yeah, I think we've always sort of been on both sides of that, which is nice.
No, I do. I love the cover because it has the setup of more of the floppy comics that you would get where they'd have the little stamp and the issue number. So I like how that looks. I think it works really well.
Yeah, I like details like that very much.
Details are important to children. I think people can dismiss them, but they notice details like that for sure. And so do you have a connection to libraries at all? Are you a member of your local library?
I was when my son was younger, and we spent a lot of time there. Loved it. So he's a bit older now, so maybe not quite as interested, but yeah, it would be nice to be more connected to the library.
And would you be interested in getting your book into libraries and school libraries?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, you know, that I know when I was at school, we'd always go to the library, and you found out about a lot of books that maybe you wouldn't usually, just spending time in there. So yeah, I think that would be great.
Maybe something to aim for next year to promote
indeed.
it and get it in there.
Yeah.
I could think that there just would be so many girls and boys that would love this. You know, that it stands out a little bit, and it is really sweet, and I think just marketed well to what children would be drawn to.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for someone that would be looking to put out their first comic in this kind of more junior style?
I think I can only go what's worked for me, I suppose. And I think just sharing your artwork on social media is particularly Instagram, such a wonderful place to show people, and creating something tangible like a zine, even if you just print it yourself. I just drew it all up and had it printed at Officeworks and put it in my shop, you know. I think just don't be scared to show people and write ideas down, even if they're silly at first. You never know what short little comic or little joke can be made within just a few panels. I love that about comics. So I often will have little doodles on the side of whatever I'm drawing. Yeah, just you never know what idea is going to go somewhere. But yeah, make zines, create Etsy shops, put your stuff out there and just have a go.
Do you get a lot of people that buy your stuff through your Etsy shop?
Yeah, I do. Sales have definitely dropped this year, but I think sales have increased for locals, like a lot of Aussies, but I think the shipping overseas at the moment is just just been a killer, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely had a lot of people interested in the pins mostly, and yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time on my Etsy shop. There's some stickers in there and stuff, but yeah, I'd love to put more in there, hopefully one day.
And so you mentioned before that you are a collector, and I can see by the toys behind you.
Yes.
Are they stuff you've had since childhood and you've held on to them, or as an adult have you sought out those items?
I have some that are from when I was a kid, definitely. The keepers and charmkins and things like that, and other things I've sort of collected as an adult. But I don't have to have every piece. I don't have to have every My Little Pony. You like a few, you know. It's the colors and the nostalgia that I like, and packaging.
I can see, because you've got some still in their packaging,
Yeah.
and they've never been opened. Is that right?
No, well, some are like anniversary editions.
Oh, yeah.
So I have opened them, but I put them back.
Yeah, my daughter found my old toy box at my parents' house, and so she's been playing with everything. She found my old My Little Ponies, and there is a part of you as an adult where you're like, okay, yes, my child, you should play with them, and then there is your inner child who just is like, no, no, don't touch them. They're mine.
Exactly right.
And so would you be looking to work on your art and your books more in the future? Like, is your goal to have that be your full-time job, or is it more still just a hobby and a side job at the moment?
I think that's the ultimate wish. Love to do it full-time. Yeah, loved it. I mean, ever since I was a kid, just making. So that would be great. So hopefully.
Plus, Bunnygirl looks like it would do well with the toy line with it. Just saying.
Don't get me started. I would love there to be a Bunnygirl figurine or something. Absolutely. If that happens, that's another dream.
Oh, well, it was lovely to chat to you today. Thank you so much for being generous
Sarah.
with your time.
Thank you.
And before we go, is there places where people can find out more about you and Bunnygirl?
Yes, there is. Probably Instagram is where I post most of my art and comics. And my Instagram is Art of Holly Jayne. And you can find links to Twitter as well there, and the Etsy shop. So Instagram.
Well, it worked for you, didn't it?
Someone
did. Came through.
It really did.
I feel like that's a dream story that they tell people, you know.
It is. It absolutely is.
Well, thank you so much. And that is all for us today. Have a lovely Christmas. Stay safe. We will be taking a break. We're going to have January off. We'll be back in February with Ali Graphic and some more great stuff lined up next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.